summer to remember. Well, now I'm thinking it's the season to forget. My thin skin couldn't fight the frigid weather. Now the sun shines brighter and I'm better off in bed. If life is short, you must be living it right, or you must not give a thought about it. I'm full of shit and you're sick of it. It's hard to learn that some people hate the people they became. They won't return. I spent my money on a course on making money. I saw the irony right after the mistake. I couldn't focus on that course enough to see the cash flow in, so I guess I'll take the blame. Those glory days weren't glorious at all. They had their rise, now here's the fall. I'm full of shit and you're sick of it. It's hard to learn that some people hate those people they became. They won't return. Yeah. I'm full of shit and you're sick of it. It's hard to learn that some people hate those people they became, and they won't return. Those glory days, yeah, they weren't glorious at all. No, they had their rise, now here's the fall. Well, I'm full of shit and you're sick of it. It's hard to learn that some people hate those people they became. They won't return. No, there's no reset switch. I can't scratch the itch. It won't soothe the burn. And now it's crashing down. Get out of town. Too late, too late, too late to be concerned. Be concerned.
Damn, now what is that song called that you guys just played for us? It's
Cult Darlings?
Yes, Cult Darlings. Let's talk about that. Where did that come from?
Forget the name of the song, but you forgot the words.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did.
This is
I forgot
haunting.
the
We're all tying this in together.
Music, like any art form, can easily be taken for granted. Mozart was the first independent artist to ever be paid for a commissioned musical composition. That would have been sometime around 1785. Since that first transaction, music has been a form of artistry that rewards composers and writers for their talent. Today's young bands hold lofty ambitions of making a career out of music, but with an unlimited amount of free entertainment options, live show and concert attendance is flat, and there is an irreversible decline in the desire to buy music to own. Younger generations still want to listen to music, but have been conditioned to believe it should be free, forcing the question we're all thinking but are too scared to ask. What would happen if artists couldn't afford to create new music anymore? What would happen if the music just stopped?
I'm Damon Evans, founder and CEO of Arena Music.
Arena music is the most innovatively disruptive business model the music industry has seen since Napster. It stands alone from other platforms that solely rely on subscription revenue by leveraging free music streaming to attract the listeners we convert to merchandise customers. Arena was formed by working backwards into the solution. We started by saying we want to pay artists a full penny per stream. Then we set about the task of figuring out just how that could be done. When you hear about an artist streaming 10 million tracks on Spotify, or that an album has been in the top 10 at Pandora for 2 weeks, it sounds like a really big deal, but you have to understand how paid subscription services work. From every monthly $10 subscription payment, the platform keeps $4 for overhead, leaving just $6 to be divided between all the tracks streamed by that user in a 30-day period. It's a little-known secret that the most commonly used streaming services are either financed by the major labels or in some way partnered with them. So all this really means is that the deck is beyond stacked against independent artists. It's easy to guess which tracks and titles will get the lion's share of that remaining $6. As a result, artists are struggling to manage the decision between growing their fan base by streaming their music or monetizing their content through some other means while limiting when and how their music is streamed. This is why we say music subscription services are where musicians go to die. This is clearly evident in the fact that not one single subscription platform in existence today, whether publicly traded or financed through multiple rounds of venture capital, has ever turned a profit. Subscription revenue alone simply cannot advance music creation. Arena Music is an on-demand merchandising storefront that leverages a free streaming service to help artists monetize their content in an industry where consumers no longer buy music to own. Arena Music is the first merchandising platform built on the concept of fair pay for artists and free play for listeners. By leveraging music as a loss leader, Arena is helping artists and labels redirect consumer attention to exclusive merchandise offerings. What makes Arena unique from all existing streaming platforms is its ability to monetize an ecosystem with outside industry revenues. Arena's merchandising service also manages the bulk merchandising needs for touring bands, as well as nationally recognized brands who sell soft good products in the automotive, medical, and outdoor sports industries. Being this diversified has allowed us to give music consumers what they want, an ad-free and commercial-free subscription option, while paying artists and labels the highest rates in the world for music streams and merchandise sales.
Hey everybody, we're here at the Secret Hideout show with Austin and Riley from No Lungs, and we're going to talk to them a little bit about their music and stuff today.
Hell yeah.
So, Austin,
Yes.
tell me a little bit about where you started in the music scene. What happened?
Where I started? Well, I played in a couple bands before. I started in high school, and the most recent band that I played in, I was always a drummer.
Oh, yeah.
And the most recent band that I played in was like a surf rock kind of, like that. I wasn't super into surf rock, but
I don't know many people that are, I'll be honest with you.
it's fine, man. Yeah.
Very niche category.
I always had to pay my friends to go to the shows. But anyway, but they became some of my best friends. So a lot of times that we kind of jammed and stuff like that was only really like, we're good friends, we're going to jam.
Okay.
And then around December of 2017, I decided I wanted to make music that was more, for the first time, something I wanted to make. And enter No Lungs. Started out acoustically and realized I would much rather like a band.
That's what stopped me for years.
Yeah, so I recorded everything myself, but I dubbed it No Lungs because there's no chance in hell I was ever going to be Austin Ryan.
Okay. So
it was set up for a project, for
okay.
sure.
So then tell me, where does the name No Lungs come from? Because that's honestly one of the biggest pieces of curiosity I've had from your work.
Well, basically, it's kind of like a feeling that I get when I'm around a lot of people. It's kind of like anxiety. Everything kind of tightens up and I start to feel really tense, and it's almost like I can't breathe, and it's like no lungs. And a lot of the stuff that is kind of mentioned in the music is stuff that, especially on the first album, These Threads Lead Somewhere, is a lot of stuff that I would never really mention to, in casual conversations. So definitely that's kind of where the name kind of takes its place, No Lungs.
So it's definitely autobiographical.
Slightly, yeah.
It comes from like the anxiety of crowds and things like that.
Oh,
that
yeah.
Feeling of almost like being attacked by a dementor and having all the breath just sucked out of you, not to get too Harry Potter.
Something like that. Yeah. A lot of times it's literally just things that you know, things that you say and that you don't want to say, or
Okay,
things
a
that
lot
make
of-
you nervous. A lot of things just make me tense and tighten up, and I'm like, so music is the only real outlet for things like that, to get out
Okay.
what you want to say. I've been thinking of sleeping pills with something to make me feel fulfilled, 'cause all the progress I thought I made fell short and went away. If you were honest, you'd make the change. You'll always lose when you complain. But I've thought it through, I'm scared to follow through with what I know I should do. Yeah. Nils asked if I wrote songs for her. We only kiss at the punk rock shows. But I haven't talked to you in years, haven't had any genuine conversations. But I've been switching from TV to pornography and back again when it gets boring. I slept in today and I'll stay up late tomorrow. Yeah, it's been a long, hard summer and I'm not going home alone. Been spending my days just waiting by the phone. Yeah, it's been a long, hard summer and I'm not going home alone. Sometimes I think I'm moving mountains, but they're always being blown. And if I go for a month or a year, I'll bring you back a souvenir to let you know that you were on my mind, if only for a second at the time. 'Cause every moment has a moment in pursuit, but I'm not sure if we do. I thought you knew. Well, I thought you knew. Well, I've been swiping on hookup apps, looking for conversation. But I still don't know how to break the ice, so I just say, wow, girl, your music taste is incredible. I miss the days when we would stay up late, and we fell apart when the winter came. But I think back to that day, yeah, and I think about it today, and I think you did the right thing. You're back talking with the guy who broke your heart. And he has my first name, so you call me by my last name, possibly in some half-hearted, shitty attempt to differentiate me from your ex. I looked in the mirror and you were right. Well, it was not a pretty sight. No, it wasn't funny at first, but then it got on my nerves, and now I think it's a large leap between who I am and who I want to be. Yeah, it's been a long, hard summer, and I'm not going home alone. Been spending my days just waiting by. It's been a long, hard summer and I'm not going home alone. No, 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 it's been a long, hard summer and I'm not going home alone. And if I go for a month or a year, I'll bring you back a souvenir to let you know that you were on my mind, if only for a second at the time. And every moment has a moment in pursuit, 'cause I'm not sure if we do. I thought you knew. And therapy won't solve the problem or the problems within themselves. We haven't talked since the band broke up, and it's my fault I don't make it work. Couldn't you tell I was falling apart? Did we make it to the bottom to go back to the start? 'Cause it's the little things that make a home in the past, while all the bigger problems throw weight on your back. I always wanna be some Renaissance man, 'cause it's better than admitting I'm fucking depressed. I always wanna be some Renaissance man, 'cause it's better than admitting I'm
Yeah, if I go for a month or a year, I'll bring you back a souvenir to let you know that you were on my mind, if only for a second at the time. 'Cause every moment has a moment in person, but I'm not sure if we do. I thought you, yeah. It's been a long, hard summer and I'm not going home alone. I've been spending my days just waiting by the phone. Yeah, it's been a long, hard summer and I'm not going home alone. It's been a long, hot summer and I'm not going home alone. No.
So as with a lot of artists, it's where you kind of get that what was the word I'm looking for? That catharsis.
That catharsis?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So tell us, in talking about that first album, These Threads Lead Somewhere, correct?
Correct.
Where did that come from?
What do you, just the song, the album?
The whole thing. Where
Yeah.
Is that was that your first attempt? Was it?
It went through it. Well, it's in December 2017. I started. I set in stone. This is No Lungs. This is what it's gonna be.
Yeah, I listened to that original, the couple acoustic ones when you first reached out to the show.
Yeah. So I put up a couple acoustic ones and was like, well, now this isn't what I want to do. I was still set on before I was like, I want to make this a band. I was like, it's just gonna be kind of an acoustic thing, and I realized I would much rather like noisy stuff. So I scrapped all of that stuff, and then I started what became These Threads Lead Somewhere, the first No Lungs album. And in December, I recorded, I think, pretty much everything, put out a single on the new year of 2018 called All Is Well, and then put out the whole album on January 9th of 18.
Okay.
By that time, I wasn't taking No Lungs very seriously, and I didn't tell anybody in my band about it either. I didn't tell anybody about it. The only people I really mentioned I'm going to do something like a music was like a music project was my friend Andrew and my friend Sam Etling, who plays in Sore Eyes. And the only reason I told Sam was because I wanted to borrow some of his equipment.
Shout out to Sam.
Shout out to Sam. But that's where that started, and I put it out really quick. I took the first take of everything I could, and I rushed the hell out of it, and I put it out. And then I eventually redid it when I was like, I want to start almost from scratch with the No Lungs thing. I'm taking it more seriously. So I redid it during the summer of 18, and pretty much it took the place of those old recordings. Bada bing, bada boom, These Threads Lead Somewhere.
Okay.
Revised, re-recorded. The premiere version came out in August.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you guys get a chance to check that album, it's actually pretty amazing. There's a song that really caught my attention called "Everything Breaks in Unison." Is that the right?
That's it. Yeah. I'll pay you for that compliment, by the way.
thought
I'll
it was
Venmo you.
like 3 or 4 songs all in one. It turns out it's just like an epic piece of music that has these ebbs and flows that come in. We want to talk a little bit about that?
About Everything Breaks?
Yeah.
Yeah. I had a whole bunch of songs that I eventually wanted to make into 4 different songs.
Okay.
But I was taking a lot of influence around that time. I was listening to a lot of Car Seat Headrest, and a lot of the Car Seat Headrest songs are 12 minutes, 16 minutes, just really long. And I thought, well, these songs that I have right now, they're not going anywhere. It's tough for me to add on to them without making it feel like they're forced.
Yeah.
But maybe there's a way I can weave them all together and kind of do that. So Everything Breaks in Unison is the name of the song, and it ended up being 12 minutes long, a little over that on the new version, like 12 minutes long. And yeah, it was a blast to record, and it was surprisingly easy to record, to get through that.
Interesting.
Yeah, and when we play it live, it's always fun too.
Okay. Does it ever feel like you're kind of running a marathon live when you play it?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can imagine even for the drummer, that would be intense.
I get
Mhm.
so sweaty doing that song.
We usually play it last just because it's so long, and especially at the first No Lungs show, because this thing went through different variations.
Okay.
Before I kind of settled on Riley as the drummer and Sam Etling on the guitar and Ryan King from Acne Superstar on the bass, it went through different variations. So there were other times where I'd say, all right, we got one more song, but it's 10 minutes long. Here we go. And then we'd start it. Yeah, they're like, damn it. Yeah, get 0 Degrees North on. No, I'm just kidding. I love 0 Degrees North. But yeah, I mean, it's fun to play live, and it was fun to record, and it's one of my favorite No Lungs songs as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, and then moving to your most recent album,
Never Live It Down.
Never Live It Down, which is haunting, by the way. The
Yeah.
way that starts, like, it feels like every time, like, I've ever been embarrassed by something or felt sort of like I would never live it down.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that album was just... It's weird because when I originally did it, I ended up redoing these 2 albums because I just didn't give a rat's ass the first time I did them.
Yeah.
So with Never Live It Down, These Threads Lead Somewhere, I feel like was a little poppier of the 2. Never Live It Down was the darker one, and I much prefer Never Live It Down. But it's weird because These Threads Lead Somewhere and Never Live It Down, those 2 albums were only made months apart, yet it feels almost completely different. I feel like there's still a tinge of kind of the Lungs if people actually like listen to the...
Yeah.
But I love Never Live It Down. It's probably my favorite thing that I've ever done so far. With anything, like any of the old bands or These Threads, it's my favorite thing that I've ever done. And I think the thing with that was, while a lot of the first album I feel like was very straightforward, Never Live It Down, I wanted to talk more about, like, instead of people and relationships like These Threads, I wanted to talk more about situations and kind of how you get there. And I feel like that's what kind of like the growth, I guess, in such a short period of time. I still listen back to it today, and I'm like, I'm surprised that I actually made that, but who knows?
It's a very distinct departure from the first album, because the first album, it feels angry, it feels sad, but then you get to the second album, it's almost remorseful. It's like it's the looking back on how you got to where you are and how it may or may not have gone well. Yeah. And it definitely comes out.
That's an interesting way to look at it, for sure. Yeah. Never Live It Down was a blast. And I think it was actually listening back to Never Live It Down that prompted me to re-record both of them, because I listened to it and I was like, I like all of these songs, but I rushed them so much that it doesn't sound like what I thought it would in my head. Okay. And then I was like, well, I can't just redo Never Live It Down. I want to redo the first one too, because I know I can do all of these songs much better than what I got out of it. So I love that album.
So when you say that, I love that album too. I've really, really grown to become obsessed with it in the past couple weeks, and it's been kind of on repeat on my Spotify.
I love that, man. Thank you so much.
It's beautiful. Let's talk a little bit about, now what is that song called that you guys just played for us? It's
Cult Darlings?
Yes, Cult Darlings. Let's talk about that. Where did that come from?
Did you
just forget the name of the song that he forgot the words to?
Yes.
Yeah.
I did.
This is haunting.
I forgot
We're all tying this in together.
I forgot the name of the song that he earlier forgot the words to.
I earlier forgot the words to it. Cult Darlings. That song, well, originally I didn't want to put it on an album because it seemed like I originally heard it and I was like, this sounds like a good idea, but I'm not really going to do anything. But it was actually when I actually listened to it put together that I was like, actually, I want to put this on Never Live It Down, and I'm going to do it, and that's what ended up happening. But it's basically just about just kind of being kind of like an asshole, but knowing that as well, but you don't want to change it. You're too stubborn, and you don't want to change it either.
You're like,
you're like, I hate myself, but I don't want to. I don't want to change. It's too much work. So yeah, but I don't know. I mean, that's just kind of how it goes.
The chorus in it is just so perfect, and with the riff that comes in behind it, it's very like, it's very grungy 90s alt. Like, it reminds me of like the Silver Sun Pickups and like early Nirvana and even the Pixies a little bit.
I love all that stuff. I mean, Nirvana is like my favorite band, and when we play live, especially, like, I like Kurt Cobain. What he did live, I'm just like, I like that. I like how, and I think that's what's made me want to start doing No Lungs in the first place, because I listened to bands like Nirvana and Mudhoney and REM and all of these bands where the singers aren't that good. Like, I listen and I'm like, the singers aren't that good.
Them,
yeah, it's inspiring, because I was like, well, if they reach such great heights, and even listening to local bands today, the
Postal Service.
Yeah. Now Ben Gibbard's voice is beautiful.
Amazing.
But even with that, mixed with bands that I listen to in like the local scene, like I listen to like Acne Superstar or the Jaunts, where I can hear it and I'm like, these guys aren't like classically trained singers.
No.
You know, these are like punk rock. This is how it goes. And
It's the punkest you can get.
yeah, and I listen to like Now from Acne Superstar, and I'm like, dude, I'm inspired. And you know, listening to that paired with REM and Nirvana and all those bands, because the main thing that I was like, I don't think I can do this on my own is I can't sing. So the first 2 albums, when I first did them especially, I put on the Brian Aubert, like the nasally Silver Sun pickups tone. And I realized when we did it live that that's not how my voice is at all. It's got a little bit more bass to it. So when
bit
we
of a rasp and some bass,
yeah. So when we redid it, or when I redid those albums, I was like, well, I want to keep it kind of how it is live, where I don't put my voice up to here. I just want to do it how I normally do it live.
Make it natural, yeah.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I mean, a lot of those bands influenced the Lungs thing, Nirvana and Silver Sun pickups.
I'm Damon Evans, founder and CEO of Arena Music. Arena Music is the most innovatively disruptive business model the music industry has seen since Napster. It stands alone from other platforms that solely rely on subscription revenue by leveraging free music streaming to attract the listeners we convert to merchandise customers. When you hear about an artist streaming 10 million tracks on Spotify, or that an album has been in the top 10 at Pandora for 2 weeks, it sounds like a really big deal. It's a little known secret that the most commonly used streaming services are either financed by the major labels or in some way partnered with them. So all this really means is that the deck is beyond stacked against independent artists. It's easy to guess which tracks and titles will get the lion's share of that remaining $6. This is why we say music subscription services are where musicians go to die.
hard to find something worth your time. Why even try? Don't feel the shame crossing out your name. You wanna feel adored, you're talking metaphors. You pull me in and I'm the first one out the door. We played this game for years and still have yet to score. Cause you're so Hollywood, are you there for good? Well, every little thing you said you loathe is every single thing you wanna show. You're so misunderstood, now you're stuck alone. If you could go back, I know you would. But would you change the outcome if you could? Oh, would you? You find your comfort underneath the sheets of lucid dream. You're holding steady like a balance beam. You're easy to offend, even if it wasn't meant. You're only passionate when it's a trend. We've played this game for years, now we're at its end. Cause you're so Hollywood, are you there for good? Well, every little thing you said you loathe is every single thing you wanna show. You're so misunderstood, and now you're stuck alone. If you could go back, I know you would. But would you change the outcome if you could? Oh, oh, oh. Are you there for good? Well, every little thing you said you loathe is every single thing you wanna show. You're so misunderstood, and now you're stuck alone. If I could go back, I know I would. Oh, would you change the outcome if you could? Would you?
Some newer groups that you draw influence
Oh,
from.
dude. Oh, man. Well, I've been listening a lot to Car Seat Headrest.
Okay.
They put an album out called Twin Fantasy. First in 2011, then in 2018. They redid it all, and
Okay.
it sounds beautiful. Another Will Toledo, the singer of Car Seat Headrest, isn't that great a singer either. So I was like, yeah, okay, this is great. But Car Seat Headrest, I don't know. I've been listening to Pup lately, and I've been listening to, who else? Screaming Females, Single Mothers. Acne Superstar just put out a new song, so I know that they're gonna be on my playlist. 0 Degrees North, Let It Happen. That album is really good.
Yeah, 0 Degrees North. They're such an interesting group. Like I said, the first time I ever saw them was in the backyard of a bookstore in Phoenix.
Yeah. Oh man.
Watched them kick over their drum sets, and just it was like a total jam.
Where was that?
Oh, 3-4 years ago maybe.
Where? Do you remember
It
the
was,
bookstore?
It was like 2nd Street and Roosevelt for First Friday.
Oh man.
Yeah, they used to do
Yeah.
shows in the backyard, and they had like the big jungle gym and stuff.
Yeah. The first time I saw. When was the first time I saw? I don't even remember. We've been friends for so long. I went on tour with them as their drummer last year, or I guess two summers ago, or
Okay.
2 years ago. But anyway, and they invited No Lungs. We played our first show with them at a house, and I was like, they're so great. They're
They're
so
ahead of
wonderful.
their age. It's ridiculous. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
they are rock and roll. But anyway, back to you guys.
Mhm.
So Riley, let's talk to you a little bit. What would you say that your influences? Wow, are?
Well, I used to listen to a lot of kind of pop rock back in junior high school. I was super into this one group called Family Force 5, and they were doing Warped Tour, like near the end of like when people actually started to like go to their shows, and like it was a whole thing where like they kind of broke up. But I went to see them at Warped Tour, and I had never seen like a metal band or like a punk band.
Oh.
And I just like looking around,
Culture
seeing all these
shock.
different- I know, just seeing all these different bands. It was really cool. So immediately after that, I got into kind of the metal, pop punk scene. So I like to draw a lot of influence from what I hear, mostly in Seaway, because I love Knuckle Puck, but
Oh, yeah.
I cannot do what John does.
That
It's
guy is amazing.
Oh my god. So I listen to a lot of Seaway. I love modern baseball.
Also great.
A lot of like that real. It's just drum patterns that not only like go with the song, but like enhance the song. And
Yeah,
make it,
and they're
give it,
fun
like,
to
a little-
play.
Yeah, they give it like the little jump that it's just fun to listen to and fun
Okay.
to play.
So what makes a punk or a rock song bounce?
Yeah.
Is what you're looking into.
Mhm.
That's
I'm looking to like take a punkish song and just make it like
give it groove.
like reachable to people who don't necessarily enjoy just punk.
Okay, that's fair. Awesome. So what are some vocalists then you guys are influenced by? You said obviously the guy from Car Seat Headrest.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean,
What about
Will-
like the Front Bottoms at all?
Yeah, Brian Sella is a cool guy. Do you like the Front Bottoms?
I listen to a lot more modern baseball. I do front bottoms, but I do like the front bottoms.
Very similar sort of that new.
Yeah, like I don't know. I mean, I like the Front Bottoms. I like Brian Sella as a vocalist. Another vocalist I really like is, I like Nav from Acne Superstar. Honestly, he reminds me of oh god, I forgot his name, but he's the dude from Jawbreaker.
Oh, okay.
He reminds me of the guy from Jawbreaker, and man, I don't know. I mean, I like Kurt Cobain. I like Michael Stipe. I like all the, I don't know, a lot of vocalists like
you know,
that.
I heard that you might. I don't know if you would even this. You might take it as an insult. You might not. Is
Let's
a little
hear it.
bit of Brock Isaac from.
Oh, Modest Mouse. We were listening to Modest Mouse last night.
Yeah.
Oh, that
the
guy.
Lonesome Crowded West.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I like Modest Mouse too. At
definitely
the
hear-
drive-in I was listening to today.
Oh yeah, I could hear just in the way the vocal melodies mix with the guitar patterns a lot. There's a little bit of influence I could see from that, and just the cadence and stuff.
I appreciate that. That's cool. I don't know, who are some of yours?
Joe Taylor.
Great.
Knuckle Puck.
Knuckle
yeah.
Puck. Yeah. What
Knuckle
about Real
Puck's UA,
Friends?
Yeah, Real Friends.
The Wonder Years.
I'm mad. I can't remember his name, but the vocalist for State Champs.
Oh.
I love people with like kind of a edge to their voice.
Yeah,
if that
a little
makes
bit.
sense. Yeah.
They're like if Neck Deep had some emotion.
Blake Schwarzenbach. That's who I like too, from Jawbreaker. That's the guy. That I like him too.
Okay.
Him and Nav are like this, I feel like.
Okay, so what do you guys have coming planned for this year then?
Oh man. Right now recording some stuff, the third album. He's going to be off, right, during the summer.
I'm not gonna be here in the summer.
Yeah.
Well, damn.
And I don't know. I want to put on what I was thinking of doing is I want to put on some shows later in the year, maybe after he gets back or before he leaves or
Okay.
something like that, where I want to play Threads in its entirety.
That
I
would
wanna
be
do something
amazing.
like-
Let me
and
know about
then
that.
Later in the year, I want to do Never Live It Down in its entirety.
It would also be
and
great.
then maybe the other time, maybe next year, do LP3 in its entirety. I love those full album shows, honestly.
yeah.
I mean, I know we're not a big band or big enough for that, but I'm not letting
cares?
it stopping me. You know,
Who-
full album shows are dope, dude.
Yeah, I mean, and if you're putting them on DIY, who cares?
Yeah,
like
dude. I love
the people that are gonna come
Man.
are gonna come and watch you regardless.
Yeah. So
Justin, put your shirt on.
come on. Are you
Really?
kidding me right
Again?
now?
I don't want to see that.
We had it in the contract.
It was on the writer.
$200. Jolly Ranchers. Keep your
Shirts
shirt
on everyone. Green M&Ms.
Green M&Ms.
So I had to beat them to death with their own shoes.
You doing to me, Justin? I'm over this.
But yeah,
Right, wrong.
there are no rules. There's one rule.
There's one rule.
So,
Turn it up to 11.
But seriously, put your shirt back on.
Yeah.
All right, let's see.
okay. So
The show last night, kicked ass.
yeah, I want to talk about that a little bit. I heard that things got weird at the show last night for the Year in the Dark show.
Yeah. Play the footage. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I'm just
Keep
kidding.
shirts on, everybody.
Yeah, I mean, last night we played a 1-year anniversary of No Lungs. It was originally supposed to be in December, but we pushed it to January. It was our first like headlining show, and it got really weird. We played longer than I thought we were gonna play, and by the end of it, we were all shirtless. But you know, just a couple guys.
Just rock and roll. That's
Rocking
what it
and
is.
rolling.
That wasn't the first time we've been shirtless either.
Yeah,
Together,
there were
I
other
get it.
times, you know.
It's fine.
Yeah, we share a bunk. Anyway,
Share bunk. Okay. So I mean, well then tell me, how did the Year in the Dark kind of concept come to you?
yeah. It basically No Lungs started in 2018. The original plan was to put out 2 albums, and I wanted to just play as many shows as I could, and I wanted to maybe get out of the state and do some stuff like that. But halfway through the year, I was like, I don't like how these albums sound. I want to redo it. So it felt like a year in the dark because I was still doing stuff, but there wasn't anything like locally that was happening. You know, we weren't playing out. At that time when I was re-recording it, I was in the middle of switching the bands around.
Okay,
So
so you spent a year in the dark in the studio.
pretty much, yeah. So we came out and just rock and roll and celebrated with some good friends, good bands, and it was a blast.
That's
It was more
awesome.
than I thought would happen. There were a lot of fests going on, and I thought that 10 people would show up, but
I mean, it was
a lot of
also
people showed
cool
up.
too that you had all your side projects were there.
yeah.
You played drums in Sore Eyes, excuse me.
Yeah, and then we had our good friends in 0 Degrees North played from our first show, and then we had the Jaunts play an acoustic set. It was
The
a good
Johns,
show.
formerly Good Grief.
Formerly Good Grief. I love them.
Those guys. Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much for coming out and playing for us. I love your music. I'm
you.
so excited to show you guys to the world. Thanks again for tuning in, everybody. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye. You sport your fake smile like it's some brand new style. Then when we talk, it's about the weather and how we hope it won't last forever. I'll never get back home. I'll never get back home. Well, I'm not sure
what to do when I don't feel comfortable around you. But I waited to make a wish. You said 11:11 is just for kids. It's not the wish coming true that I'm hoping for. It's the pipe dream that comes with thinking there's something in store. I'll never get back home. I'll never get back home. Yeah, I think I'm gonna die alone. And at the funeral no one would show. Said you had to leave. There's a light on in your house to guide you back to where you wanna be. And everything breaks down in ways you don't know how to fix what's tattered up or let it be. Yeah. It's been 2 weeks since I saw an ex. Been a day since I regretted having sex with a girl with whom the only connection that we had was swiping in the same direction on Tinder. On the late nights when I'm all alone and I feel like picking up the phone, and I will call you up and I will spill my guts. I'll have you back in my arms until the director yells cut. I'll never get back home. I'll never get back home. No, no, I think I'm gonna die alone. Said you had to leave. There's a light on in your house to guide you back to where you wanna be. And everything breaks down in the ways you don't know how to fix what's tattered up or let it. You're wasting time when you're sorting me out. Fingernails chewed down in a head full of doubt. I used to think I was a person who was coy and slick, but I've accepted that you'll never see me like that. No. I'm never going home. I'm never going home. And it's okay to die alone. Said you had to leave. There's a light on in your house to guide you back to where you wanna be. And everything breaks down in the ways you don't know how. Yeah, to fix what's tattered up or let it be. You're wasting time when you're sorting me out. Fingernails chewed down and a head full of doubt. I used to think I was a person who was coy and slick, but now I've accepted I'm a living piece of shit.